Group Project SLA in ELTA. Alright. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. On this occasion, we will present about introducing second language acquisition. And let's meet us. My name is Rufi'ah Ning Asrianti and also my friend Nuzul Zahrotushsholikhah. Well, before we go to the main material, I would like to introduce you to L1 or first language. First language or native tongue and also mother tongue is the first language or dialect that a person has been exposed to from birth or within the critical period. In some countries, the term native language or mother tongue refers to the language or the dialect of one ethnic group rather than the individual actual first language. And then the second language. A second language is a language acquired by human after acquiring a first language with relatively perfect language mastery. The use of second language is only in a certain aspect of human life. It has fewer functions compared to the first language. The process of acquiring a second language by humans occurs in a conscious state. One of the process of acquiring a second language is listening activities. Well, in second language acquisition, the study of individual and groups who are learning a language subsequent to learning their first one as young children and to the process of learning that language. The additional language is called a second language or L2, even though it may be the third, fourth, or tenth to be acquired. The primary factor driving SLA appears to be the language input that learner receive. Learners become more advanced the longer they are immersed in the language they are learning and use it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in the second language acquisition, the scope of that is informal and formal. Informal second language learning that takes place in naturalistic context, and the formal learning that takes place in classroom. For the example, informal learning occurs when a child from Japan both to the US and picking up English in the process, playing and attending school with native English speaking children without any special language instruction. And the example of formal learning occur when a student is in the high school in England and also he or she take French classes. Well, also in the second language acquisition, a second language is typically an official or societally dominant language needed for education, employment, and other basic purposes. And then, the second language acquisition, also a foreign language, is one not widely used in the learner's immediate social context, which might be used for future travel or other cross cultural communication situation or studied as a curricular requirement or elective in school, but with no immediate or necessary practical application. And then, also as an accurate language is one which learners need to know far from official function in their immediate political setting or will need for purposes of wider communication, although their first language serves most other needs in their lives.
Alright, so after being explained by my partner Ibu Rufi, I'm going to continue the next material. So here is the next material. After learning about the second language acquisition, let's move to what is first language. So first language, sometimes we are confused by the term first language, native language, primary language, or mother tongue. Are these terms different? Yes, they are. Let's see for one by one. The first one is first language. The first language, also known as L1 or mother tongue, refers to the language that a person learns first, usually during childhood. So when they were born in this world and they learn the language during their early childhood, it means that they learn their first language. Next one is native language. So for native language, it is a language that is spoken natively by an individual. For example, if someone born in Indonesia, but then she or he moved to Netherlands, then they will learn Dutch there. They use Dutch as their language, so it means their native language is Dutch, not Indonesian anymore. Third one is primary language. The primary language is generally used to refer to the language that is most commonly spoken or used by an individual in their everyday communication. So the language that is used by us to do the communication in our regular basis, it's called primary language. And the next one is mother tongue. Mother tongue actually is just another term or of first language. It refers to the language that a person has learned from their mother or primary caregiver during early childhood. So it's actually the same with first language. And then second language acquisition. Acquisition of more than one language during early childhood is called simultaneous multilingualism. It results in more than one native language for an individual. So multilingualism here is also used to include bilingualism. Then sequential multilingualism, or learning additional languages after L1 has already been established. So sequential multilingualism is different with the first one, simultaneous multilingualism, because simultaneous lingualism is learned when they were just born, when it is in their early childhood. But this one, sequential, it is learned after the L1 has formed, has established. Simultaneous multilingualism is undoubtedly much less common than sequential multilingualism. Then, are there any differences of simultaneous multilingual and sequential multilingual learning process? The answer is yes. It appears that there are significant differences between the processes and or results of language acquisition by young children and by older learners. It means that the duration or the time when they are learning another language or second language, it affects, it gives impact to the second language acquisition. Next one is diversity in learning and learner. Learning as a process that leads to change, which occurs as a result of experience and increases the potential for improved performance and future learning. This definition is adapted from Mayer 2002, and this definition was also taken from the book called or entitled How Learning Works: 7 Research-Based Principles for Smart Teaching. Next one is learner. Learner refers to an individual who is actively engaged in the process of acquiring and developing knowledge, skills, and understanding within a specific domain or subject matter. And in this material, the focus is language. The material is okay. Learning second language. what is learned in acquiring a second language, as well as how it is learned, is often influenced by some factors, some aspects. What are them? The first one is informal exposure to speakers of other language. Apparently, informal exposure is also one of the aspects of the learner to learn second language. The second aspect is immersion setting. Immersion in a setting where one needs a new language to meet basic needs. So when someone in another country or in another region, they have to speak the new language because they have to fulfill their own basic needs. It means that they come in an immersion setting. The last one is instruction at school. We have already known the aspect was from informal exposure or in the immersion setting, and the last one is of course the formal one or the instruction at school. So these aspects often profoundly influenced by powerful social, cultural, and economic factors that are also affecting the status of both languages and learners. Now let's see what are the learner categories. Some expertises have already distinguished the learners by some categories. First, expertise, the linguist. Linguists may distinguish categories of learners defined by the identity and relationship of their L1 and L2. But from psycholinguists, uh, psycholinguists may make distinctions based on individual aptitude for L2 learning, personality factors, types and strength of motivation, and different learning strategies, while sociolinguistics may distinguish among learners with regard to social, economic, and political differences and learner experiences in negotiated interaction. The last one is social psycholinguists. So it's like the combination with from psycholinguists and sociolinguists become social psycholinguists. Social psycholinguists may categorize learners according to aspect of their group identity and attitude toward target language speakers or toward L2 learning itself. So that are the categories of learner. So I think that's all from us, from Burufi and Nuzul's team. Thank you for listening and watching this video. Thank you.